Hi guys, for day 8 of my 12 days of Christmas nail art, we'll be working on this Starburst design with a aqua chrome background. This was actually inspired by 2 different Christmas ornaments that I'll be showing you at the end of the video. And if you'd like to see how I did it, just stay tuned. Starting out with a base coat on clean dry nails. I'm going to be using Ready for Takeoff, which is a peel-off base coat, and you can use whichever is your personal favorite. For my base color today, I'm going to be using China Glaze Metallic Muse. This is kind of a metallic aqua color, and you definitely could also just use a plain silver if you want. Metallic Muse is one of those colors that will show every little ridge and divot in your nails, as you can probably see on my index finger here. I actually had a tiny small break there that instead of patching, I just glued it together with gel, and that's actually been working pretty good. But I'm hoping to cover that up with my nail art. I've got my plastic lid here. And for the burst, I'm going to be using Nubar Star Sparkle, which is a silver holographic glitter. So I'm just going to dab a bit of that out. And to draw the burst on rather than painting it, I'm going to be using the small and slightly larger ends of a dotting tool. So, just going to get a little bit of polish on the dotting tool and start drawing in the burst. So, I'm going to start with the smallest end and draw from the outside in toward the center from 5 different directions. And when I add on the sequin, I'm going to try and line it up with these kind of rays. And then with the slightly larger end, I'm going to draw in between each of those, like that. And once I get these on, and this is very easy, easier to me than painting these with a brush would necessarily be. Kind of hard to see on my pinky nail, but I'll show you guys on one of my other nails also. So once that's all done, just make sure there's a good amount in the center and that it's still wet. And then I have these little silver stars here, which I have quite a few of, and I'm just going to go in there with a wet orange stick and pick one up and then place that on my nail, like I said, kind of trying to line up the star points with the shorter rays that I painted. And just make sure that's pressed down on there. And now I'm just going to do the same on my other nails. Finally, we want to finish with top coat, and as usual, I'm using Seche Vite. So here's the finished manicure, and I'm pretty pleased with how this turned out. I didn't quite manage to cover that little ding on my index nail with the burst, but the Seche Vite did a pretty good job of smoothing it out anyway. And while some of my other designs, like the red and gold swirls or the shimmering ice French tip, have been very directly inspired from the ornament, This is kind of more of a loose inspiration from, as I mentioned at the start of the video, 2 ornaments. So the first one I'm going to show you guys here is mostly the inspiration for the color, and I'm hoping it doesn't just come across as silver on camera, but this is what inspired me to use this kind of aqua chrome as my base. And then this other ornament actually lives in the same box with that one. Not sure if it was ever aqua also and like faded over time, or if it's always been silver, but this is where the burst design inspiration came from. So I kind of put those 2 together and ended up with this. I'd love to hear what you guys think down in the comments. Be sure to subscribe if you're not already so that you can be notified of my new uploads. We've still got 4 more days of Christmas nail art. I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and as always, thanks for watching.